I am just throwing this movie together. I haven't had a video out for a while with the new year and Christmas and a couple of things happening in my life. Haven't been able to get a video out to you guys, but here we go, off the cuff. What have I been reading? I've been reading around Christmas. I was reading Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. There we go. It's one of his little books. He calls it. It was not a traditional Christmas story with like uh, all the Santa Claus and the kind of Hallmark feel that you get around Christmas time. But it was a good book. I liked it, and it was one of his little books, like I said. And those I think he just sits down, he writes what's on his mind, and 200 pages later, it's a book, and it's nice. It's nice and short and sweet. It's not really literature. I wouldn't say he says he doesn't write literature, but it's entertaining, and it kept me entertained for like 2 days. So yeah, I read that around Christmas. Next, I won a book from Goodreads, Goodreads.com, John Irving's Avenue of Mysteries, and I've already posted a review of it on Goodreads. Thank you, Simon and Schuster Publishing, for giving me this copy. This is what took me most of December and almost all January to finish. It's just this book it's dense reading, but it doesn't really bore you. It's kind of like the title says, Avenue of Mysteries. You don't really know where it's going. You don't know what elements of the plot that you should pick up on and remember. I could tell a little bit about the story instead of just my feelings on it. It's about Juan Diego and his clairvoyant sister Lupe, and they live in Mexico. It flashes back and forth between his childhood, growing up with his sister in Mexico, and some parts of his life where later on he moves to Iowa, and he's there with his foster parents in Iowa. And then what's kind of the present day storyline is whenever he is visiting he's going to visit the Philippines for somebody that he met in his childhood. It tells about his trip there, and he meets up with one of his old students because he's a writer and an English teacher. I did not enjoy it. I wish I would have, because I've heard John Irving has very good stuff out, such as the Cider House Rules and the screenplay to John Irving. He's one of those authors that doesn't come out with a book every year or every 5 minutes like James Patterson. But when he comes out with a book, it's supposed to be like monumental. You know, this was meant to be a book that you read, you do book clubs on and stuff like that. But I wasn't interested in it. I'm not going to recommend it to anyone. But I gave my honest opinion to Simon & Schuster and Goodreads, and I put it up on my Facebook page. So check it out if you want to see exactly why. I hate doing hack jobs, but I tried to be constructive and also spoiler free. So post comments and put comments on this video too. Feedback's the best teacher in my opinion. So enough about that. Avenue of Mysteries. Tripwire. Almost forgot about it. I don't know how I did that, but Tripwire, Lee Child. It's another Jack Reacher novel. I am in just a bind on who my favorite author is right now for fiction, kind of thriller, mystery type, just suspense. Jack Reacher has all of those just wrapped up all into one character, and he's just like, I don't know. In this third book, I thought for sure, okay, this is the third book of the Jack Reacher novels. The first one, knockout hit, which, okay, debut novel. I figured, okay, I'll give him that. That's how it got on the shelves. But then I was ready for a big letdown with Die Trying, his second book. And it was right up there, like on the same level as Killing Floor. And the third one, I thought, okay, here's his hiccup. This is going to be it. And no way. Like, I picked it up, and I was 50 pages in when I said, I need the next Jack Reacher novel right now. Because as soon as I finish this book, I'm either going to be, it's going to be the middle of the night, and I'm going to not be able to sleep. I want to see what's happening in this guy's life. Like, what is he doing? Whose butt is he kicking? It's good, and it kind of gives a little different take on the character because it brings up a woman from his past that he kind of saw as a little sister, and it brings up one of his role models from his past, plus takes the villain or the antagonist and just like kind of does a huge twist at the end. Like, I thought that I knew Lee Child. Like, every time I think I know what's going to happen in his book, it's just like automatic, like that's probably not going to happen, and there's no way to guess because he saves it until you're just about ready to say, well, I could write the rest of this book, and then whoop, like 180. And obviously Lee Child knows what he's doing. Big fan. He ties my number one. Sorry, Lee, but you are number one, but you're tied, and you're tied with Stephen James. Okay, Stephen James, he wrote all of I have them all kind of down here around the corner, but they started off with the pawn, the rook, the knight, yeah, the knight, the bishop, queen, the king, checkmate. Opening moves was a prequel to those, and this is another prequel, and this is another one. Just like Lee Child, just I can't put Stephen James down. Uh, he's not as much of an adrenaline as more of just a story brain teaser. Like you want to know what's happening next, and you think you've got it figured out, but then he doesn't like throw you a big curveball. He just like twists your logic and kind of has some underlying themes in there that I really like too. I'm excited about this book. This is going to keep me up. I'm going to slug into work the next day, but I'm going to love every minute of it. So my TBR for, it's almost mid-February, my TBR for February and March, so I can get a couple of books in there. I ordered some books that I didn't get as gifts for Christmas that I knew I wanted, like I have to read them. TBR, Every Crooked Path by Stephen James. The next Jack Reacher novel by Lee Child, Running Blind. I'm finally going to push through with the next Game of Thrones book, Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I started this right after I finished the Game of Thrones. A Game of Thrones, like that was one of my first videos I did. And I wanted to take it piece by piece and kind of chew on it. So I read a couple of books in between these, and I feel like I've kind of drifted away from the story. I haven't watched any of the HBO series. I've refused. My sister's gotten into it, and I just tell her, just don't tell me anything. I don't want to hear about it because you'll spoil what's in the book, and I don't want that to happen. But I'll read this before the end of March. So there's 3 big ones before the end of March. I stumbled upon a free, like a book giveaway, and got Harlan Coben's Deal Breaker. This is the first Myron Bolitar novels, so this is his first one with Myron in it. Then I have a couple of like romance type books. I got 2 Nicholas Sparks ones, The Wedding and A Walk to Remember, and James Patterson, Sam's Letters to Jennifer. So I haven't heard much about any of these. I Walk to Remember a little bit because that movie came out when I was younger. You need a little variety, or I do. I need a little variety. So I have a bunch of thrillers, some fantasy, and I'll mix in a little romance, kind of sentimental type reading in there too. Leave me suggestions because I'm always looking for a good read. Let me know, and yeah, I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping in.